We continue with the next speaker, Yuri Geraldo, about the barriers to implement wildlife-vehicle collision mitigation measures. It's pre-recorded as well.
Good morning, I'm Yuri Ribeiro, and today I'm here to talk a little bit about my work and covering barriers to implement WVC mitigation measures through a literature review. I am here representing my institution, which is called the Wild Animal Conservation Institute. Our project is called the Anti-Years and Highways Project. So let's get started. I want to start this talk explaining our motivations. Mitigation measures is a key stage to decrease roadkill rates, as we are calling it, wildlife vehicle collisions, and to understand what are the barriers to implement these mitigation measures is a key point. The problem is we didn't find this information, so realize it would be necessary to do a literature review to find these categories and to understand what are the barriers. So we started from looking at the name of the mitigation measures, and authors mentions two problems in the literature, in papers. We ended up with 103 peer-reviewed articles. 71% of these articles related some kind of problems for implementing mitigation measures. And from that, we obtained 120 mentions that we transformed in 6 main categories of barriers to implement mitigation measures in practice. So those categories were barriers related to cost or economics. Authors mentioned that there is a high cost to implement mitigation measures for implementing it and also for maintaining it over time. The second one is related to species traits or ecological aspects of the same species. So to implement mitigation measures, we need to understand what are these drawbacks or these bottlenecks involving these species traits and how it could affect the species, thinking about their ecological traits. The third one is the barrier related to the knowledge of the successful of a certain mitigation measure and how the uncertainty of success could, affect the outcome or the implementation of this mitigation measure. The fourth one is the barrier related to technical aspects or the absence or the lack of technical knowledge to implement this mitigation measure. The fifth one, is a barrier related to political and institutional aspects. Basically, this barrier describes how the role of institutions and politics could affect the outcomes or the implementation of mitigation measures, following authors' description in their papers. The last one is the barriers related to road user behavior, or how the road users, truck drivers or car drivers, could affect the success of a certain mitigation measure or even the mitigation measure implementation itself. This work was really important to get this first look at the barriers and also to understand who are the key stakeholders that holds the power to act in each of these barriers so we could overcome them, we could work through it and get it done with applied conservation. I would like to thank the institution that funded this work, the Foundation Segre, and the Wild Animal Conservation Institute, and the IEN for allowing me to present this today, this lightning talk. Hope you all had a good time here. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuri. I think this work is really interesting and relevant for involving the different actors, as you said. So I'm curious to read more about that. There are certainly questions. Then we're looking forward to get more information, more details on these different categories from you, Yuri. Thank you very much for your presentation.